Listen to the mainstream talking heads. They will all feed you the exact same fairy tale. Israel is America's greatest strategic asset, our only democracy ally in the Middle East, our unbreakable shield against terror. They want you to believe that protecting Israel is essential for American safety. But that's a total illusion. The cruel truth. Superpower heavyweight John Mearsheimer just stepped up, and he didn't just drop a truth bomb, he dropped a tactical nuke on this entire narrative. The reality is cold, hard, and terrifying. Israel is not a strategic asset, it is a massive strategic liability. It's not a shield, it is a suffocating noose tightening around the neck of American foreign policy. Mearsheimer proves it. Think the disastrous Iraq War was for American security. Think again, the upcoming catastrophe with Iran. Same story, even 9/11 itself. The principal architect explicitly stated it was largely motivated by America's unconditional support for Israel's treatment of the Palestinians. Every time we unconditionally defend them, we are painting a bullseye on our own back. They don't protect us, they drag us into their fights. And it gets worse. As we burn through our advanced munitions in the Middle East, missiles we desperately need in East Asia to contain China, we are hollowing out our own global power. Why? Because the enemy isn't just external. Mearsheimer exposes how the Israel lobby has hijacked Washington. They have become the single greatest threat to free speech inside the United States right now, cracking down on college campuses. They are not just an overseas liability, they are corroding American democracy from within, spying on us more than any other nation, and dictating our policies. We are not partners. We are being held hostage by our own client state. Superpowers don't have friends, they have interests. And right now, American interests are being sacrificed on the altar of a foreign interest group. Wake up. I break down major news and hot topics in plain English every single day. So even absolute beginners can get it. Make no mistake, every move they make at the top directly impacts the vital interests of everyday people like us. You've got to stay on top of the news to upgrade your mindset and avoid getting played. Just watching without dropping a like, you are missing out on half the fun. Enough nonsense, let's get straight to it. Listen to me very carefully. The Western mainstream and your average Joe on the street usually think America's wars in the Middle East are all about defending the homeland. They think Washington sends troops and drops bombs simply to keep the bad guys away from New York and Texas. They assume every single missile fired is strictly protecting the American dream. But Mearsheimer's cold reality completely shatters that comfortable illusion. The brutal truth, America isn't fighting for its own survival. Washington is fighting for a client state. Israel is not a strategic asset. It has become the ultimate albatross around our neck, dragging the American empire deep into a blood-soaked swamp. Think about this using a simple street gang metaphor. It is exactly like hiring a highly paid, supposedly elite bodyguard to protect your business. You give him the best weapons and unlimited cash, but instead of keeping things quiet, this bodyguard goes out every single night, walks into the worst neighborhoods, and deliberately spits in the faces of the most ruthless mob bosses in the city. And when the rival gangs finally pull out their guns and start shooting, your loyal bodyguard runs straight back to your house, hides behind your back, and forces you to take every single bullet. That is exactly what is happening in the Middle East right now. Israel provokes the fights, and the American taxpayer bleeds to pay the bill. Look at the Iraq War. The politicians and the media told you it was about weapons of mass destruction. Total garbage. Mearsheimer makes it painfully clear. The Israel lobby dragged Washington kicking and screaming into that disastrous war. Israel desperately wanted Saddam Hussein taken out, and they used American blood and American treasure to do their dirty work. Now, pay close attention here, because this next part will make your blood boil. Look at the tragedy of 9/11. The mainstream media has spoon-fed you the lie that the terrorists attacked America simply because they hate our freedom. Mearsheimer drops a massive reality bomb that blows that narrative to pieces. The truth is much crueler. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the principal architect of the 9/11 attacks, openly admitted his core motivation. He attacked the United States specifically because of Washington's blind, unconditional backing of Israel's treatment of the Palestinians. Can you believe it? Osama bin Laden even tried to push up the date of the attacks twice back in the year 2000. Why? Because of Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's aggressive moves on the Temple Mount. Our blind loyalty to Israel didn't protect us from terrorism. It painted a massive glowing target right on our own backs. Mearsheimer says it bluntly: without Israel, 9/11, the Iraq War and the current Iran War simply would not have happened. Fast forward to today, look at the devastating, ongoing war with Iran. The United States is suffering a humiliating defeat. We are burning through our military stockpiles. We are destroying our global reputation. And who pushed President Trump into this absolute meat grinder? Benjamin Netanyahu and the Mossad. They whispered in his ear. They promised a quick, easy victory. They set the trap, and Washington walked blindly right into it. Under the brutal Great Power Gangster Rules, a real mafia boss never lets a low-level associate dictate his moves. The boss gives the orders, but right now in Washington, the tail is violently wagging the dog. America is bleeding out in the desert, and we aren't even fighting for our own national security. We are just taking the bullets for the guy hiding behind us. Now, you might ask, how does a small client state exert this much influence over a global superpower? The answer lies inside our own borders. The Western mainstream and your average taxpayer usually think that pro-Israel lobbying groups are just normal, everyday political organizations. They think it is just a bunch of passionate citizens peacefully supporting a democratic ally, exercising their rights like anybody else. But Mearsheimer's cold reality hits like a sledgehammer. The brutal truth. The Israel lobby is not just a friendly support group. It is the single greatest threat to free speech and political independence inside the United States today. They haven't just influenced Washington, they have completely hijacked it. Think about this using a ruthless corporate boardroom metaphor. It is exactly like a rogue senior executive inside a massive Fortune 500 company. This rogue executive is secretly stealing top-level company data, draining the budget and selling secrets out the back door. But he has so much blackmail material and raw power over the board of directors that whenever a loyal, hard-working employee tries to report him, the rogue executive gets that employee fired and blacklisted immediately. And to top it all off, he forces the terrifyingly weak CEO to hand him a massive multi-million-dollar bonus every single year. That is exactly what is happening to the American government right now. Let's talk about your basic freedoms. Look at what happened in the spring of 2024. College students across America protested against the actions in Gaza. What happened? The lobby flexed its massive muscle, and the government cracked down instantly and ruthlessly. They made it terrifyingly clear. If you dare to criticize Israel out loud, you will be destroyed. You will lose your job, face serious trouble, and might even get deported. The lobby crushed the First Amendment right in front of our eyes, and Washington gladly helped them do it. And it doesn't stop at college campuses. Look at our elections and our hiring process. Look at a highly respected American diplomat like Chaz Freeman. The lobby made it absolutely impossible for him to serve in a top government position simply because he dared to be critical of Israel in the past. They distort our elections. They purge anyone who doesn't blindly fall in line. Here is the kicker. You actually think Israel is our loyal friend? Ask anybody in the U.S. intelligence community. Mearsheimer points out a shocking, undeniable reality. No country on planet Earth spies on the United States more aggressively than Israel. Look at the infamous Jonathan Pollard case. Pollard was a spy who did catastrophic, unbelievable damage to American national security. And what did the lobby do? Powerful billionaires went to great lengths to get him out of an American prison. When he finally got to Israel, he wasn't treated like a criminal who betrayed the United States. He was paraded around the streets like a conquering hero. Pay attention here because it gets even crazier. Look at the new terrifying legislation being pushed right now that would effectively merge the American Pentagon with the Israeli IDF and the CIA with the Mossad. Can you believe it? Mearsheimer calls it absolutely shocking. Nobody in the American national security community has the guts to stand up and say this is unacceptable. The United States is literally surrendering its sovereign independence and handing real military power over to a foreign country. Under the brutal Great Power Gangster Rules, an empire that lets a foreign lobby control its military, dictate its foreign policy, and spy on its citizens is an empire that is committing suicide. Washington isn't running the show anymore. The lobby is, and this complete breakdown of leadership leads us straight to the Oval Office. The Western mainstream and your average taxpayer usually think that the American commander-in-chief always operates like a master chess player. They think the president has a brilliant, carefully planned strategy backed by the greatest military intelligence minds on the planet. But Mearsheimer's cold reality rips that illusion to shreds. The brutal truth, the decision-making process inside the White House, is an absolute chaotic disaster. Look at President Trump's recent actions regarding the Iran war. Mearsheimer points out that Trump thinks he is an absolute genius. He doesn't listen to his National Security Council. He doesn't ask for a careful study of the options. He just flies by the seat of his pants. When Trump decided to go to war with Iran, all his top advisors, J.D. Vance, the head of the CIA, and the Secretary of State, warned him it was a terrible idea. So, who did Trump listen to? He listened to Benjamin Netanyahu and David Barnea, the head of the Mossad. They promised him a quick, easy victory. They sold him a total lie, and Trump, ignoring his own American generals, fell right into their trap. Think about this using a classic Western movie metaphor. It is exactly like a loud-mouthed cowboy in a high-stakes, high-noon street duel. Before the fight, a shady snake oil salesman whispers in the cowboy's ear, "Just close your eyes and empty your gun as fast as you can. It will scare them all away." So the cowboy steps out, closes his eyes, and fires every single bullet he has into a brick wall. Now, the dust settles. His enemy is still standing right there, aiming a loaded shotgun directly at the cowboy's head. And the cowboy, he is standing there screaming, acting tough, but holding a completely empty revolver. If he pulls the trigger, all you hear is a pathetic click. That is exactly what has happened to the American military. During the 40-day bombing campaign and the July escalation, we completely blew through our most precious, highly sophisticated munitions. Stockpiles, Washington has absolutely zero coercive leverage left. The Pentagon is running on empty, and the nightmare gets worse. The military stockpile we just wasted in the Middle East. We desperately needed those weapons in East Asia to contain China. By letting Israel drag us into this unwinnable war, we are crippling our actual global strategy. Look at Trump now. He is completely desperate. His approval ratings are crashing down to 35%. Inflation is destroying his chances in the upcoming fall midterms. He knows he needs to open the Strait of Hormuz, but he has no military option left. So what does he do? He goes on television and starts screaming about military terror. He threatens to wipe out Iranian civilization. He sounds like a madman. Why? Because he is flailing under the brutal Great Power Gangster Rules. When a leader starts making wild, genocidal threats, but doesn't actually pull the trigger, it means one thing: he is completely out of options. Iran has a massive arsenal of ballistic missiles that can crush Israel, and America doesn't even have enough interceptors left to stop them. The paper tiger has finally been exposed to the entire world, and Trump is trapped in a burning room with no exit. But let's cut the crap. You might be sitting on your couch in Ohio or Texas right now thinking, why should I care about Israel, Iran, or Ukraine? That is Washington's problem, not mine. Let them fight. Wrong. Dead wrong. The brutal truth is that this geopolitical disaster isn't staying overseas. It is actively reaching right into your bank account and stealing your hard-earned cash as we speak. Look at the nightmare Israel dragged us into in the Middle East. Because of this disastrous war, the Strait of Hormuz is facing a total blockade, Trump is panicking right now. Why? Because that strait is the ultimate choke point for the world's oil supply. When a massive energy artery gets choked, the global premium on crude oil absolutely explodes. What does that mean for you? The cost of filling up your gas tank is going to surge overnight. But it doesn't stop at the gas pump. Every single thing you buy, your daily groceries, your clothes, your Amazon packages, relies on diesel trucks and global supply chains to get to your door. When energy costs skyrocket, corporate America doesn't eat the loss. They pass that massive bill directly to you, and it gets even worse. Pay close attention here, because Mearsheimer just dropped another terrifying reality bomb about the war in Ukraine. While Washington was distracted and burning through our weapons in the Middle East, Russia made a massive move. They completely shut down Odessa and the Black Sea ports. Ukraine is now totally landlocked. Listen to these numbers, because they will make your spine tingle. 90% of Ukraine's agricultural goods and 75% of their manufactured goods are now completely trapped. That is a massive global food supply chain getting its throat cut. So what happens when the world's energy choke point in the Middle East and a massive global food artery in Europe are both choked to death at the exact same time? I'll tell you exactly what happens. A devastating, massive inflation bomb. We are staring down the barrel of a brutal cost of living crisis. This is exactly why Trump's poll numbers on the economy and inflation are absolutely crashing. The politicians are burning through our tax dollars to fight unwinnable wars for foreign lobbies, and they are printing endless amounts of money to cover the tab. Every single time, the government fires up those money printers to pay for their catastrophic foreign policy failures. The dollars in your wallet become worth less. Your savings account is bleeding. Your 401k is losing its purchasing power. You are literally paying the price for their arrogance. This is a massive black swan event for your personal finances. You need to stop watching the news like it is some Hollywood action movie. You need to start watching it like it is your personal financial survival guide. If you don't recognize the brutal reality of this geopolitical chess game, this coming inflation spike is going to eat you alive. And this is exactly why you need to listen to me very, very carefully. We are living in a brutal era where your level of cognition directly determines your personal wealth. If you cannot see through the mainstream media's smoke and mirrors, you will become the ultimate victim of these geopolitical gangster games. The politicians will never tell you the truth until it is already too late, and your bank account is completely empty. If this video blew your mind today, if it finally helped you understand how the money in your pocket mysteriously vanishes or grows, based on what happens in Washington and the Middle East, do not hesitate for a single second. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click that notification bell right now. Forward this video to your family and friends. Wake them up. In this dangerous world, sharp information is literal self-defense, and falling behind means you pay the ultimate price. Now I want to hear from you. Let's talk about John Mearsheimer. His analysis is completely ruthless. He strips away all the fake political morality, the beautiful speeches, and the diplomatic garbage. He looks at the world through pure, cold, great power gangster rules. But let's be honest, reality is often exactly this cruel. Mearsheimer's logic is ice cold, but reality is often just that brutal. What do you think? Is Mearsheimer dropping undeniable hard truths about Washington being hijacked, or is he just a cold-blooded, cynical realist who doesn't understand strategic alliances? Should America put America first and cut ties with foreign lobbies? Or should Washington double down and stay the course no matter the cost? Get down into the comment section below and let me know exactly where you stand. Let the debate begin. I'll be down there reading your takes. Stay sharp, don't get played, and I will see you in the next video.